Hi, my name is Megan Farraher, and this is a presentation on the association between sugar-sweetened beverage consumption and BMI. Data was taken from the Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System, or BRFSS, for the state of New York in 2016. BRFSS is a questionnaire developed by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in collaboration with state public health departments administered to each state every other year via telephone calls. Using the dataset, this study looked at the association between BMI and sugar-sweetened beverage consumption. The data was cleaned to obtain the variables in this study, which represented confounding factors to the relationship between BMI and SSB consumption. The variables used were continuous and categorical BMI, sugar-sweetened beverages per week, sex, age, ethnicity, race, education, income, physical activity, and if a person was ever told that they had cardiovascular disease or diabetes. The dataset was first restricted to New York residents only. Observations with missing values were excluded. BMI was categorized as normal, overweight, or obese. Observations where BMI was greater than 18.5 kilograms or less than 40 were set as 0 to be excluded from the dataset. Sugar-sweetened beverages per week were categorical and had 4 values: none, 0 to 1, 1 to 7, and more than 7. This combined two variables, soda and fruit drinks. Sex was binary, male and female. Any observation that was refused was excluded from the data. Age was continuous, and anyone above the age of 80 was set to age 80 in the code. Ethnicity was binary, Hispanic and non-Hispanic. Don't know, refused, and missing were excluded. Race was categorical with 3 values: white, black, and other. Anyone who answered refused or do not know were excluded. Education was categorical with 3 values: high school graduate or less, some college, or college graduate. Did not graduate high school and graduated high school were combined to create 1 value. Observations stating refused or do not know were set to 0 and not included. Income was categorical with the following values: $25,000, 25 to 49,999, or greater than $50,000. Physical activity was measured for the last 30 days and was binary, either yes or no. This excluded observations of don't know, refused, or missing. Cardiovascular disease included heart attack, heart disease, and stroke, and was binary, yes or no. Diabetes was also binary: yes if the person had been told they had diabetes, and no if they have not. Histograms were created for variables once the missing data was excluded. Complex survey weighting was then used to create linear regressions in order to assess crude and adjusted associations. Linear regression is used because the outcome, BMI, is continuous. A Lowe's curve was to assess the unadjusted association of age and BMI. A CPR plot was then used to assess adjusted association between age and BMI. Variables were then created for the residuals and for the predicted values and plotted in the residual plot. A Q-plot is then used to assess normality. A critical value of 0.05 was used in this analysis, and Stata IC software was used for the purpose of this study. The results in Table 1 point to a slight association between BMI and the amount of sugar-sweetened beverages consumed in a week. 21% of obese individuals surveyed consumed more than 7 sugar-sweetened beverages per week, compared to 18% of those with normal BMI. There was also an association with male and being overweight or obese. Table 2 also suggests an association between BMI and the consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages. For more than 7 sugar-sweetened beverages consumed in a week, there is a stronger influence on BMI. The beta coefficient is 0.43, with 95% confidence that the true value falls between 0.05 and 0.81. The p-value is 0.025, suggesting a statistically significant association between BMI and consuming over 7 sugar-sweetened beverages in a week. From this study, it can be concluded that there is a statistically significant association between BMI and the amount of sugar-sweetened beverages consumed in a week. The public health significance of these findings is that reducing the amount of sugar-sweetened beverages consumed could be largely beneficial for the health of the community. Future research should be conducted to determine how many, if any, sugar-sweetened beverages can be consumed without any significant association. Next steps for the public health field would be to provide education surrounding this association to young children and families. So the proposed intervention is increased education, specifically around the effects of consuming sugar-sweetened beverages. This intervention will be accomplished through the placement of educational graphs and visuals throughout the state of New York to show the risk factors for obesity, specifically the consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages. The target population is children in an effort to prevent obesity from occurring. However, there will also be educational materials directed towards adults and those who are already overweight or obese. The goal for this intervention is to create the understanding that sugar-sweetened beverages are a risk factor for obesity and that obesity is a risk factor for many chronic illnesses. An ecological study will be used in this intervention because data is being analyzed at the state level. Effectiveness will be measured by collecting data about the prevalence of obesity each year after the intervention is executed. This intervention will affect each level of the social ecological model. At the individual level, it will affect individual beliefs about diet and weight, including stress level, the pleasure individuals feel when eating, and the individual motivation it takes to diet and exercise. The interpersonal level will include immediate social networks such as family, friends, and coworkers. The organizational level will include schools, hospitals, clinics, and gyms. And the community level will include social media and anybody advocating to promote healthy living. The public policy level will include the state or federal funding used for this intervention. Thank you for listening to this presentation.